Well, everybody, we have reached that time of year again. It is time for the best films of 2017, in my opinion, and my special guest today, Zach Pope. You guys know that Zach and I, we love bringing this stuff to you, and it's time to talk about our favorite films of 2017. But before we start, Zach, how about you tell everybody where they can find you?
Well, guys, you guys can find me over at Zach Pope Reviews. Zach Pope, just type it in on YouTube. It'll come up. Also on Twitter at Pope the King. You will find me over there as well. But guys, also make sure to come check me out, because yesterday I posted a video talking about our top 10 worst of 2017. So after you watch this one, make sure to go check that one out, because that was a very fun discussion with Cody.
That was an absolute blast. And Zach, thank you so much for having me on there. Guys, really, go check that out. It was a lot of fun. If you guys haven't seen that video, but you want to know how we're going to do this, we don't want to go down each individual movie because that'll take too much time. What we're going to do, we're going to go over some honorable mentions. Then I'm going to go over my 10 through 6. Zach's going to do the same after me after a little discussion of those movies. And then we'll go from 5 through 2. And then eventually we'll lead down to our number 1. So, first of all, Zach, how about you tell us what some of your honorable mentions are?
So I'm just going to straight up say this. This was the hardest year to make a list. Like, this was a really difficult year. So some of my honorable mentions might be a little surprising for you guys. So first off, Last Fly Flying, a film that I really wanted to get in my top 10, but I think you guys should check out. American Made, another great Tom Cruise film. Spider-Man Homecoming, I almost had it in there. Star Wars The Last Jedi did not make it. And then this is one that I think all you guys are going to kill me on. War for the Planet of the Apes did not make it into my top 10. As much as I loved all these films, the other 10 I've selected are films that have stuck with me throughout the whole entire year.
Well, that certainly is an interesting list, Zach, especially knowing what we have coming down the road. But guys, don't kill me either. I don't have War for the Planet of the Apes in my top 10 list either, for some of those same reasons that Zach had. But in my honorable mentions, I have Split, The Return of M. Night Shyamalan, Coco, The Return of great Disney and Pixar films, and then I have Wind River, Stronger, and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Those 3 films are extremely powerful. They've got some of the best performances of the year, and although I do enjoy them and I think they have a lot to say, they couldn't make it into my top 10 list. But without any further ado, let's go down this list. Number 10 is Star Wars The Last Jedi. I know, I came out and I said that this is probably my favorite Star Wars film, and it still is. This movie has a great deal to say, but there are some things about the other movies on my list personally that I think were done a lot better, or I think have a lot more to say, but that doesn't lessen the fact that I love Star Wars The Last Jedi. Next up is Edgar Wright's triumph, Baby Driver. I know there were a lot of people who like the Cornetto trilogy. I love the Cornetto trilogy. Up until this point, Shaun of the Dead was my favorite Edgar Wright film. He knocked it out of the park when it comes to Baby Driver. The style of everything inside of the movie, the fact that everything in the movie was made around the music, and so much of the action and every scene in this movie is in beat with the musical choices, it is something very special and wholly original. And Edgar Wright, you did a fantastic job. Next up is Patty Jenkins' triumph, Wonder Woman. For those of you who don't know, Patty Jenkins before this point was only doing indie type films. Everything that she did in this movie is just so phenomenal. For one thing, it's very culturally significant because of the amount of gender equality that it pushes into the film industry, because that hasn't really been all that necessarily around for the past 100 years. And now it has a chance to be. Not only the fact that Wonder Woman is just an entertaining movie to no end. Gal Gadot proves that she is the Wonder Woman. I want to see what else she does next. Chris Pine is great as Steve Trevor. This whole movie is just phenomenal. Next up, this is definitely not going to be on the majority of people's top 10 list, but it's on mine. The Greatest Showman. Look, if there's one thing I can say about The Greatest Showman, I know it is a glossy, Hollywoodized version of P.T. Barnum's life, but the music, mixed with the messages that this film has about just being yourself, about accepting people who are different from you, and allowing yourself to go after your dreams no matter how impossible they are, it just struck a personal chord with me. And like I've already stated, the vast majority of this film, I was in tears in just the best way possible. Number 6 is possibly the best directorial debut I've ever seen, and I was skeptical going in because I wasn't positive about the marketing, and that is Jordan Peele's Get Out. This movie, it's a great thriller, it's a great horror and suspense film, It's got a lot of great social and political commentary in it, which, let's face it, with the tension and everything going around these days, it's something that we need. But just the fact, the dialogue, this movie was hilarious. This movie was catchy. It had a quick pace to it. It felt slow at some points, but it didn't necessarily. This film just overall, as a whole, worked, and it's one of, like I've already said, it's one of the best directorial debuts I think I've ever seen.
Cody, you have a great list there. Some of the films I was looking at, Star Wars, I really wanted to get in my list. I couldn't. Greatest Showman's an odd choice, but I know how much that film means to you. And same with Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is another one that would have been in my honorable mentions. Another film that I tried super hard to get in my top 10, but the thing is, my top 10 through 6, my whole top 10 list in general is a lot of films that I said stuck with me. And starting at number 10 is going to be Baby Driver. This is probably my second favorite Edgar Wright film. I still love Shaun of the Dead the most, but Baby Driver, like you said, is a triumph. I saw this film, I think, 4 months early, before anyone had even had buzz about the film. And I still, to this day, I had seen it, I think, 7 or 8 times now, and I love Baby Driver. The action sequences played out. Baby himself, Buddy is a fantastic character. And I know we're not going to talk about Kevin Spacey, because we all know Christopher Plummer probably would have replaced him anyways, but still, Baby Driver overall is such a fun, wild, energetic ride at the movies that I think is a movie that anyone can watch and anyone can enjoy. And the soundtrack in here, who knew we would be saying this, but the soundtrack in here is better than Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Who knew we would be saying that? But coming at number 9 is a film that I just saw, and that is Good Time, starring Robert Pattinson. And this film has stuck with me ever since I watched it. This film is magnificent. It looks like that kind of film that's going to be, oh, it's a heist gone bad, but it's not just a heist gone bad film. This film is brilliant. Top to bottom. The performance by Robert Pattinson here is Oscar caliber worthy. I think it is top 3 best performances this year from any actor I've seen. He is so good. He delves into the role. This is the first time I've never seen him as himself. I see him as just the character. And the film is one of those films that goes in an unpredictable route. Even though you think it could get predictable, it goes in unpredictable routes that you don't see where it's going to go. I totally recommend Good Time. And coming in number 8 is a film that you talked about, Jordan Peele's directorial debut, Get Out. A film that when I walked out, I really liked. But the more I sat on the film, the more it stuck with me. And this film I've been so fascinated with all the attention to detail things that Jordan Peele did into this film. And I just rewatched it again yesterday, and again it solidified its route into my top 10 list, because Get Out, even though it is not a funny comedy, it has its moments, it is really a terrifying film when you really think about it. And all the social aspects that Jordan Peele put into this film, Get Out is one of the reasons that makes me want to become a filmmaker and a director in Hollywood, because of what Jordan Peele accomplished with Get Out. Coming at number 7 is going to be Brawl in Cell Block 99. Now, this is probably a film none of you guys have even heard of, but it stars Vince Vaughn and is directed by the guy who did Bone Tomahawk, another film that probably none of you guys have heard of. Brawl in Cell Block 99 is a film that has stuck with me since the first day I ever saw it. It is a gruesome film. It is a gritty film. It is not an action film, but the title pretty much says it. It's a brawl that happens in Cell Block 99. It does have a slow pace to it, but the slow pace is what makes the film work. The story told here is brilliant. Vince Vaughn gives probably his best performance I've ever seen the guy give. And this is the first time that we all know Vince Vaughn is like a 6'3" big guy. He's a big dude. This is the first time that I think a movie has ever used his stature and his height to this level. He is so good in here. And there's one action sequence in here that I'll just say it has to do with a foot and a mouth. I'll leave it there, but when you see it, you're just going to go, ooh, when it happens. And coming in at my number 6 is It. Now, for a long time, this film was not in my top 10, but then I rewatched it again, and I started thinking, you know what? This film has stuck with me for a very long time. Pennywise, played by Bill Skarsgård, is one of the biggest surprises this year. Pennywise is so good. Now, even though I don't think the film is scary, I think that's fine, because this film is more of a coming-of-age film than anything else. It's a coming-of-age film hidden inside a horror film. I love this film, from the Losers Club that was created and brought into here, but even though to the direction that the director took, because I'm not the biggest fan of the director, but he really surprised me in here with the humor built in here, with the story he built in here, and it just makes me so excited for Chapter 2 and to see when Pennywise's great return will be. And I just absolutely loved everything about it. It is one of those films that have stuck with me, and that scene in that dark, crappy, meth-headed house. that they go into. That whole sequence in there is one of the best sequences I've ever seen. When Pennywise is crawling out of the fridge, I'll leave it there if you haven't seen the film. It is one of the best moments of 2017, and that is why it is one of the best movies of 2017.
You absolutely have a fantastic list there, Zach, and I know there are going to be some people who question this, but in your opinion, do you honestly think that It is better than Get Out as a whole?
For me, no. I think Get Out is a better made film than It is, but for me, It has stuck with me a little bit more than Get Out has, and I've seen It quite a few more times than Get Out is, and some of the sequences in It have just totally just engraved into my mind now, just like Get Out has, but for some reason It has resonated with me more. Maybe because I can actually relate to Richie, because Richie is just like me, and I feel like that's why It also sticks out to me. Plus, I read the book, so I feel like it's totally nostalgic that I read the book and that it's like the book came to life. It's a lot of aspects like that.
And if there's one thing that we can say about the entirety of this year is that horror films that have come out this year, be it, Get Out, Gerald's Game, 1922, they are films that aren't just straight up horror films. They're actually films that mean something because they're either coming of age films or they're films with some social and politically commentary to them, like Get Out. But moving on, going into my number 5 is The Big Sick. Now, this was not on my top 10 for the longest time. Like, I enjoyed it, but I recently watched this film about 3 weeks ago with my family, and I gotta be honest, this movie is hilarious. And it's not just that it's funny. Obviously, in today's day and age, we are in such a tension-filled time right now when it comes to people from other countries, when it comes to the way people see the world. And the way that Kumail Nanjiani and his wife Emily not only brought this movie out, but they also wrote it together. The fact of everything that this film means, this movie was hilarious. This movie has a lot to say, and I absolutely love it, and I will continue to watch it. Now, number 4. Number 4 for me was your number 6. It. I absolutely love this movie. Call it because I'm a Stephen King fan. Call it because I love the source material. But this film as a whole infected me and is kept inside of my mind since I watched it. When it was in theaters, I saw it 4 times in theaters. I absolutely loved it. The Losers Club are people that you can see yourself as, and very much when it comes to Zach, I was very much like Richie Tozier when I was in middle school. So there's that element. And Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise was amazing. And this film feels very old-fashioned. It feels like a film that could come out in the 80s with the highest budget and highest technology value that we have of today. This film was breathtaking, it was amazing, and every single shot is a painting waiting to be seen. Now, number 3. I know people would expect this to be higher for me because this is my favorite superhero of all time. Number 3 for me is Logan. The best superhero film that we have gotten this year, and in my opinion, it is the best superhero film we have gotten since The Dark Knight. Because very much when it comes to that film, like The Dark Knight, Logan isn't a superhero film. It's a gritty, it's a dark, it is a Clint Eastwood Unforgiven-esque Western. And where Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart take the characters of Charles Xavier and Wolverine/Logan in this movie is stuff that we frankly have not seen before. And it's a version of Wolverine that we've been waiting to see for a long time. And the fact that Hugh Jackman took a pay cut for this movie so we could have the story we have been waiting for such a long time, to have a hard R version of Wolverine, to have a story that has so much weight to it, to have a story that people can connect to, and a story that brings you down in tears because of the magnitude and the effect it has on you. Logan is not only one of my favorite superhero films, one of my favorite films of this year, it's one of my favorite films of all time. And now, number 2, there's only one thing I gotta say. Oh, hi, Mark. The Disaster Artist. The Disaster Artist is a film very much with The Greatest Showman that connected with me on a personal level, but I think it's very significant because we know about Tommy Wiseau, we know about Greg Sestero, but none of us really knew the story of how they met, of how they produced the best, worst movie ever, The Room. We don't really know about the creation of that. And this story isn't just about the creation of The Room. It's a story with heart. It's a story with weight. It's a story that is really heartbreaking in a sense. And it is a story that it's so inspiring that we need these days because so many people are giving up on their dreams. So many people are not going to do things that may seem impossible that could have the greatest benefit on their lives. And that touched me in such a deep and personal way. I love The Disaster Artist. And I mean, in all honesty, it is tied with my number one at this point.
Man, you have a great list there, but I will say this, is that some of the films you're putting in there are kind of all jumbled up in my top 5, so I'm just going to get straight to it. My number 5 is going to be The Disaster Artist. Yes. Oh, hi, Mark. Oh, hi, Doggy. Oh, hi, Cody. I love The Disaster Artist. Now, I like The Room. It's fun to make fun of and enjoy. But, you know, The Disaster Artist, James Franco crafted something here that if you are a filmmaker or a lover of film, this film has so much heart to it. It's not just a parody of making fun of The Room. It really does have heart and humanizes Tommy Wiseau to the point where you care about him and understand what the guy was trying to do. He made a film. That is a huge thing out there. And Disaster Artist carried the source material so beautifully. And again, James Franco, one of the best performances of this year. He embodied Tommy Wiseau. I didn't see James Franco. I saw Tommy Wiseau. But coming at number 4 is a film that I just saw and I cannot wait to see it again. That is I, Tonya. Holy crap. This is the Goodfellas of sports movies. I know a lot of people have saying that, but it really is the Goodfellas of sport movies. I've seen this in multiple reviews, and that's what people are saying. And when I went into the film and walked out, I said, yep, if you like Martin Scorsese and you like sport movies, this is the film for you. I, Tonya is one of the best films I've seen in recent years. It gives one of the best performances of this year, and I am cheering for Margot Robbie to win Best Actress this year. She was brilliant. She hit such emotional catapult performance level stuff that is fantastic. Allison Janney is also in here, and she's brilliant as well. Another actress that I'm going for Best Supporting Actress. I think I, Tonya deserves all the awards, everything. It deserves everything because it is one of the most unique told films this year. And I know some people have a problem with this, with actually what it's based on. The film humanizes her, but it doesn't just sit on her and say, oh, well, she wasn't the bad person here. No, it shows where everyone went. And even though it does have some stupid characters, I cannot tell you guys enough. Go and see this film the second it comes to a theater near you. And coming at number 3 is a film that, God, it has stuck with me ever since I saw it, and that is Blade Runner 2049. The themes, the cinematography, the scenes that happen in this film, just the stuff that happens within the first 30 minutes, all has stuck with me to a core. And this is coming from someone who, I'm not the biggest fan of the original Blade Runner. I think this film is superior to the original Blade Runner. Yes, it is a very long film, but it's a film that if you put dedication to, Blade Runner 2049 is absolutely one of the films that you can certainly enjoy. It carries heavy themes. I know the film, like I said, it is a very long film, but it is an epic film that we have not seen crafted in years. And this is a film that I think in years coming from now, it'll be hailed as a classic. And coming at number 2 is, man, this was at my number 1 for so long, and that is Logan. Logan is probably in my top 3 favorite superhero films of all time. I've seen this film 10 times this year. It is brutal. It is gruesome. It is gritty. But Hugh Jackman gives one of the best performances of this year. He is brilliant in the role. Patrick Stewart gives the best performance of his career. Daphne Keane as X-23 is amazing. She is so good in here as a child actress. And overall, Logan, I don't know what else I can say about this, but it carries some of the best scenes in films ever. It carries some of the best Western themes ever. And it just overall has fantastic action sequences, a fantastic conclusion to this X-Men story, this X-Men Wolverine story. And it just, you can totally tell Hugh Jackman gave it his all. And James Mangold, hats off to you. You directed a masterpiece of a film. I have no complaints with Logan. I love it more and more every single time I see it. And this is a film that will bring emotion to you. Even if you've never even seen any of the other X-Men movies, you get attached to each and every one of the characters. I love Logan.
Logan is a masterpiece for sure. I mean, I already stated it's my number 3, but there is one film in your top 5 that is my number 1 film. That is Blade Runner 2049. Now, I know I was very excited, and when I came out and I said that Blade Runner 2049 was my favorite film I had ever seen. Blade Runner 2049, it is a film that I have analyzed, and I saw it 5 times in theaters. I have analyzed Blade Runner 2049 to pieces, and just the cinematography from Roger Deakins, the messages, the questions of humanity. And yes, I enjoy the original Blade Runner, it's true, but what Denis Villeneuve did with this source material is blow it out of the water and create something that people are going to talk about for years to come. The things, the themes, the messages this movie teaches, the whole subject of humanity and what it means to be human and where people are going to go in life. What Denis Villeneuve is solidified Blade Runner 2049 is not only the best movie of 2017 in my opinion, but also the best film I have ever seen.
Nope, and I agree with you. That's a big key word. Denis Villeneuve is the reason Blade Runner 2049 works so well. Now, your number 5 is actually my number 1, and for people not keeping track, that is The Big Sick. This film I have seen probably the most out of any other film this year. This is the film that I recommend to every single person I've ever talked to. When they ask me, what film should I see? I was like, The Big Sick, The Big Sick, and The Big Sick. I am the biggest advocate of this film because Kumail Nanjiani, I've always been a fan of him from Silicon Valley to whatever else the guy does. This is one of the best performances he's given. Yeah, he plays himself. I don't care what you say. He is so good. But also, every performance in here, Holly Hunter gives one of the best performances I've ever seen her give. Ray Romano, who knew the guy could hit some levels of emotion? He hits them. And Zoe in here is also fantastic, playing Emily, his future wife. And it's just such a brilliant... It's one of the best rom-coms I've ever seen. And I'm not the biggest romantic comedy guy, but this film hit me. I could relate so hard to a lot of these moments. And I remember the first time I saw this film, I started watching it, and all of a sudden, midway through, I started, tearing up. And I'm like, why the hell am I crying? Why am I getting so emotional? And every single time I watch this film, I find myself still getting emotional about it. I might even cry right now. I love The Big Sick. I love the humor weaved in through it. I love the emotional levels it tells with family, with relationships, with love. It is one of the best films I've seen in so many years. And The Big Sick, in the coming future, it will be in my top 10 of all time. I would not be surprised at that. I think it's one of the best films of this year, in my opinion.
I cannot argue the fact that The Big Sick is one of the best films of this year. It's one of the best films of all time. I absolutely love it. And very much like with Blade Runner, The Big Sick is my favorite romantic comedy. It is my favorite romantic comedy since When Harry Met Sally. And it has so much to say. But guys, that is our top 10 list on our top 10 favorite movies of this year. But hold on to comments, hold on to hate, because these are our top 10 list. This is our opinions. These are movies that touched us personally. If you got a top 10 list, that is perfectly fine. Leave it down below. Let's get a conversation started so we can see each other's preferences. If you didn't like our list, just leave your list down below. It's perfectly okay. But anyways, thank you all so much for showing up. Thank you for stopping by Zach's channel and checking out the top 10 worst movies of this year. If you haven't seen it, there is a link to that video plus all the other collaborations Zach and I have done in the description down below. And guys, just thank you so much. This has been a phenomenal year. This has been a phenomenal time at the movie theater. But Zach, I've talked enough. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Well, you guys can find me, of course, on YouTube at Zach Pope Reviews. Whichever one you type in, it should come up. Of course, on Twitter, at Pope the King, Stardust, Zach Pope, Instagram, Zach Pope. Same stuff right there. But guys, thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you for dropping by. I can't wait to see what your guys' top 10 list is for the best of the year. And also, if you guys come drop by the top 10 worst, I can't wait to see what your list for that is as well. Cody, again, thank you so much for having me. I had a ton of blast talking about all these great movies. Again, this was the hardest list to ever put together because there were so many films I wanted to put in here, but at the end of the day, I couldn't. So, again, thank you for watching this, and I can't wait to talk with you guys about movies.
I am right there with you, Zach. Creating the top 10 list of 2017, it was nearly impossible. So many great films came out this fall. But guys, before we leave off, you know we have our top 10 worst and our top 10 best, but pay attention to Zach Pope's channel tomorrow because we have a very big announcement that we've been planning for that you're gonna get, and I think you're gonna like what you want to hear. But as always, it is what you guys say that matters. So, like I said before, just leave your top 10 list below and tell us what you think of the entirety of this year, and Zach and I will be sure to interact with as many of you as we can get to, because after all, it is the conversation that matters. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right there and subscribe to this channel and over to Zach Pope's channel. And you all have a fantastic day.